Dawn Butler, and I'm not in the Katy Sue kitchen this week. You might notice a change of venue, but I am here for Katy Sue, but in the Dinky Doodle kitchen. And I'm going to share with you how I made this great big treasure chest cake using the brand new Katy Sue Quest for the Sea moulds, and they really are fantastic. Now, not only is this a pretty nice treasure chest cake, useful for all sorts of things, but it's essentially a two-tiered cake because we've got this section being the second tier. But it's a two-tiered cake with a difference because this one allows you to lift the lid and reveal this. So we've got a really cool detail inside that kind of shouldn't fit. So it's a bit of an illusion cake too. I'm going to share all these secrets with you along with the new fantastic range of moulds. So shall we get started? So let's take you through first what's going on with the board. And have you ever seen anything quite as exciting as this? Now this comes from my friends over at Cake Tools Direct, and they manufacture quite a few things for me, but this is one of their products that I am most in love with. Essentially it's a drum board, but an empty one that's clear, so we can fill it with all sorts of goodies. Now let me show you what's going on inside. This is one of their drum boards, and basically it comes in different colours, so black, white, purple, and then clear. And it's great as it is, but we've now adapted it. It's now been given 4 pegs, and those 4 pegs will fit into the plinth. The plinth has got 4 holes on not one side, but 2. I'm going to place it down like so and connect it. Now, if I flip the board over, I can now use it as a plinth board. I can get my fingers underneath and turn it around and get hold of it. But if I put it back like a tray, it essentially allows me to fill it. Now, we could be filling it with sweets, we could be filling it with lights, we could be filling it with feathers. But on this occasion for a treasure chest, how amazing is it that we've basically filled it with sugar? So soft brown muscovado sugar, and of course the Katy Sue shell moulds. This mould was absolutely perfect for this. I've done these in a mixture of a marbled white and dark chocolate modelling chocolate, and then a gentle bit of airbrushing too. And I really think it sets this cake off. Within seconds this board was finished. I then take a second board with those pegs, line the pegs up, push down, and my board is now sealed. So I can now use this just as it is. There's no glue required. There's no sticking, no ribbon even. My board is ready to display my cake. Let's take a look at some of the moulds that I've used for this project. Now this one isn't from Quest for the Sea, but what chest wouldn't be complete without a lock? And of course from their realms of fantasy we've got some beautiful lock moulds, so I couldn't resist adding that one to this cake. We've also got these amazing coins. Now they're perfect for any treasure chest, and I'll show you how easily they come out. What I really love is that there's different ones, so you're not just using one coin, you've got lots and lots of different designs. I'm giving these a little rub with some Trex, and then I'm going to use a mixture of either grey, and it could be a sugar paste or modelling chocolate. This is a modelling chocolate, and also brown. And it's because I'm going to airbrush them up. So I'm taking a small piece, just larger than a pea, and I'm pushing that into the moulds, like so. I'm going to take some of the brown, we'll do some little ones. So basically, if I'm going to airbrush them silver, then I will use a grey base. If I'm going to do them gold or bronze or copper, I will do them brown. But look at that detail. How amazing are they? What else have we got here? Look at that ship. That is so cool. So cool. And then the little ones as well really, really do bring this to life. And I love the fact there's so many in one mould set, so it doesn't take long for you to pull out all the ones that you need. Now, for my lock, I did that in that silver as well. But what else did I do in silver? I wanted to do the anchor, and also because it's Neptune's chest, then I wanted to do him in silver too. Let me show you him. He's got quite a lot of detail going on in that face, and if you want to get that nose out so that you've got real detail in there, I actually make sure that I push a piece of either sugar paste or modelling chocolate in first. I can then take a larger amount, giving that a knead, and then I can push that into place, making sure that I work it all the way up to the top. I love the fact too that we've got his trident really nice and detailed in there as well separately, so that we can add that on. So making sure that I've filled out all of that nicely, and then just open that mould up so that we know we've got all of our detail coming out, and just start to peel away. There we go. It really is a fabulous, fabulous mould. I mean, take a look at the beard, the clothing, everything there is really, really superb. Love that one to bits. So that is going to go on the front of the chest, and I would put that onto a piece of kitchen paper and airbrush that silver. Of course you can dust it with luster dusts, or make a paint as well from luster dust and alcohol. Then we've got my favourite, my absolute favourite. I love this one. This is my octopus tentacles. Now I love the fact we've got two different sizes. I've actually used these on the same octopus, so it didn't matter. I thought perhaps that he would have two larger tentacles at the front, but as they're all curled up as well, it didn't really matter. So I was able to get two of these out at a time. So just finding all of that detail to get the treks into. Rolling myself a sausage, and I'm going to start at the narrow end by rolling a thinner amount, pushing it round like so, kind of working it and smoothing it and neatening it off as I go. Now this is a marbled chocolate paste, mainly white, a little bit of brown, and it was what I actually used to make those shells that went into the board. But what I am going to do is I'm going to airbrush this octopus up. And the other one. Now both Nick and Kerry give recipes for an adjusted sugar paste for moulds, which is really rather super. It does make a massive difference. So if you find that your sugar paste is too soft to work with, and some brands are, it does not mean that they're not a good sugar paste. It just means they need a little bit of help to firm them up, and then you should have no problem at all. There we go. So again, just work the mould like so. Will you just look at this detail? There we are. So I'm pushing with my finger behind the mould, and then also opening the mould out. Doesn't make great telly when you can't see what I'm doing. There we go. How's about that? Will you just look, I've got a bit of tinfoil in there. Will you just look at the detail of those tentacles? How stunning are they? How detailed is this? And also you've got just amazing skin detail here. So absolutely stunning. So I would make up a few of those, and we're going to airbrush those to help make our octopus come to life. So those are just a few of the nice moulds that I've used. Obviously we've got the anchor as well. I love the fact we've got two sizes there, and I've used the smaller one on the side of the cake in that silver, that grey chocolate paste that we can spray it up silver. So we've made all of those details. I usually do that in advance so that we can add them to our cake. And let's get started on that. I want to talk you through what's going on in the cake. Now remember I said essentially it's a two-tiered cake. So this top of our chest is our second tier, and our bottom of our chest is our bottom tier. Now essentially a cake that's tiered is on a board, and in between are dowels, and that's what's going on here. It's just a different shape to a wedding cake. So here are the boards of my tier, and if I lift that off, it reveals the tier underneath. But of course what shouldn't happen is anything prouder than that board. So there's some secrets going on in the top of my chest. Now any cake, as I've said, needs these dowels. You can probably see now as I'm highlighting these circles that that's where my cake dowels are. This cake essentially is a rectangle. Now it's a larger rectangle at the top than it is at the bottom, but you could build yours straight. And you see how it's smaller look at the bottom than it is at the top. If you don't fancy carving that, just keep the chest as a straight rectangle. When I carved this, I carved it upside down. So it was normal naked cake, turned it upside down and carved like the shape of a sort of square plant plot, ganached it and then covered it in sections. But I'll come to covering it in a moment. We'll also come to all of this inside and what's going on here. But let me just show you then how I've dowelled that cake. Now dowels that I use are called cake support pins, and they are basically a cake dowel, but a damn good one. These are again from my friends over at Cake Tools Direct, and the packaging comes with a full instruction. You might recognise those hands, and they come in a pack of 8. Now on one side of the pin is numbers from the top down to the middle with a plus, and on the other side of the pin is numbers from the bottom up to the middle, 1 to 8 with a minus. And what I've basically done is measure 4 times the height of my cake. So I'm going to push down into the cake. This is really hard chocolate paste now. But push down, and I'm then going to check the measurement. Now I can see here that my measurement is on the line in between the 5 and the 6. So I would check that measurement now 4 times, push in once, twice, 3 times and 4 times. And I would take that tallest measurement. What I've then done is, here's my measurement look in between the 5 and the 6 on that line. I'm going to turn over the pin, and between the 5 and the 6 on the line at the bottom of the dowel, I'm going to score once with a craft knife, like so, and then it snaps straight. I can then place it into my cake, like so, and that is now hitting the bottom and providing me with a great deal of support. So that is what's going on inside there. Of course, it doesn't explain how the magic happens with our little friend Octopus. So let's go through the top of the cake and see what's happening with him and how we hide him. So shall I share with you what the secrets of our octopus is? You know how I love to use terrace chocolate orange wherever possible. And the reason that I do so is that I need a big round shape. I don't want to make it out of cake, and I certainly don't want to make it out of Rice Krispie treats or a waste of modelling chocolate that no one's going to eat. So a nice round shape to begin with is perfect for the shape of our octopus head. And we're going to cover him in a little bit of modelling chocolate. Now, it used to be that these things would stay together in a nuclear blast, but now they seem to fall apart a lot more readily. So we'll see what happens to this one. I'm going to elongate the shape of his body somewhat by rolling myself a section of chocolate paste and placing it underneath. I'm just pushing it to join towards his body. Now, if your Terry's chocolate orange came apart on you, it wouldn't really matter because you could secure it back together. Now look, it started to come apart already, but we're going to cover him up. Now you need to not make him too big and generally keep testing him against your lid, but you'll see what I mean in a moment. I'm just going to roll out this modelling chocolate, move him to one side. I don't want to go too thin because I want to just put some eye marks in there as well. And literally just cover him over. Now you'll notice I've not used anything to make that stick. The heat of your hands should do the job. And I don't really want to put anything on our chocolate orange. There we go. Now to make those eyes, let's just pick him up from the surface, like so. I can literally just twist and pull, don't even have to trim him up. So to make those eyes, either a ball tool, Dresden tool, or just the end of a paintbrush even, or a scribe, I'm just putting in the marks where we're then going to put the eyes in. I'm just marking with my thumb to accentuate those brow marks. And again on the other side, I could use the back of my finger and just give him some character. So he just needs a couple of brow marks like so, and we'll be infilling those with a white sugar paste once we've airbrushed him up. So that's all that we need to do to the front of our octopus before we add the legs separately. Now, when I was saying that we need to make sure that he still fits inside that treasure chest, this is what I was on about. Essentially, that's what's going on inside. Now, you'll see even, look, we've still got the food label here. This is one of the ones that I'd prepared for demo. I have obviously washed the inside, but I've just not managed to take this label off. So this is a food-safe plastic tub. In fact, this particular one had sausage rolls inside of it. And I've attached it to a piece of foam core board. Now, foam core board is very light and strong and allows me to cut it easily. But of course, you could use a cake drum board or any other food-safe cardboard too. I've decided what size my tub is dependent on will it fit over the Terry's chocolate orange. I've then measured my board, leaving me, look, 2 handles over and above that rectangle, and cut myself out a section in the middle. I've then secured the top with hot glue, making sure, of course, that it didn't go over any of these edges and touch anything that was food. And I can keep checking and making sure that he fits. And that essentially, folks, is the secret behind the treasure chest. Let me show you how it works on the real thing. So here it is. Can you see now how the legs are curled in a certain way? So we don't want those tentacles sticking beyond where our item is going to fit. So can you see that we've curved it to fit everything inside? And as long as that works, you can then fill the rest with cake. So just keep checking as you build it, and as you assemble this, assemble all the bottom tier first, and with this nice and empty and blank, you can just keep lifting off and checking, does that work and does it fit? And once you're happy that this one is all assembled and airbrushed and covered, then you can make your top tier of cake. So let me show you how I added cake to this. So this then is our cake template. And when I'm looking at how much cake I need, I've actually used these measurements, so the white border, to cut cake the right size. Now that I'm ready to put my cake on, I've essentially used this white border on here as my template to see what size cake I need. Now, of course, I've given you this template, but it doesn't mean you need to use mine. You can scale it up or down accordingly. Now then, let's add my cake. What's important is that the joins aren't the same as you layer it. It's kind of like bricklaying. Now, can you see I've gone to the end here and short, so I then come down this way and it's short, then the end here and it's short, and then the next piece, look, should line up like so. When I come to put the next pieces on, I'm going to go over that join, which should leave this join exposed, like so. That'll leave that join exposed, like so. That leaves that join exposed and covered up, like so. Just completely layer your cake until you are level with the top. That will then allow you to put a plain piece of cake across the top. Now, don't forget, of course, you could be putting buttercream in between your layers, and also a little bit of buttercream over the joins to help put them together. But they don't actually need it. If you just want to layer it up, that's fine. So we're going to do that and then come to carve it. We've now piled our cake up. Now, I know that I've got it in all sorts of bits and pieces, but this section in the middle would just be that one piece of cake, look, that's covering our tub underneath. Now, I've then given you templates for the top sides of the chest, which would slot on like so. And they basically make our template for carving, and that would work like this. Now, I have a very long carving knife, and I find it makes work very easy when I'm trying to carve bigger cakes. Now, if I need to secure the templates to the side of the cake, a couple of barbecue skewers will do it. But you generally find once you started to take some of it off, it does get a little easier. So we'll go this side as well. So I just basically want to make sure that I've got a good, nice, round shape. You should never do what I'm doing. Can you see that I'm cutting towards me? We should never do that. We need to cut round and carve the other side. Like so. I would then be ganaching this surface, leaving both of my templates on. That allows me to get a really nice, sharp, straight edge. Once I've ganached it, I would remove my templates and ganache either side. I'm then ready for covering it. So for actually covering the chest, I've done it in sections. So the front, the back, the sides, the top, etc. And I can't show you how to cover it all again, but I'm going to give you the idea of how the texture works on this small iced up board. So I like to use modelling chocolate for this one, even though we're going to airbrush it afterwards. To put the planks of wood in, I've simply used a metal scraper. Could be a ruler as well if you want to. And just push down. It'll give you the nice straight lines, particularly if it's a ruler and it's big enough for your work. Now then you could use a Dresden tool, a piece of floristry wire, all sorts of things. But I've got a scribe tool here and I'm just gently drawing across my work with the scribe tool in wavy, rough lines. You can see pretty instantly that that will give us our wood effect detail. Now, because I'm left-handed, it's easier for me to flip this round to just come in and put some lines in from the other way. But easy as that, and once it's airbrushed, it really will bring that to life. So I've done that all over my cake. Let's take a look at some of the bits that we want to airbrush. Now, first up, we're going to start with these exciting tentacles. And I'm just going to place a piece of kitchen paper down and I'm going to put in this fractal orange, so pearlized orange. Really rather fab. Check that I've got the right colour, which we have, and then put these down. Now, if I angle the airbrush straight, so I'm almost horizontal, I can actually just get one side of these tentacles, like so. Now I'm going to come straight down with the airbrush. Again, I'm just sort of really aiming down one side. I'm going to put that to one side and pick up the next one. Same kind of principle again. By going horizontal, I'll only catch that side edge. And then by coming straight down and moving it round, I can just get the top of it, but down one side. Should we do one of the big ones? Look at that. So again, look, I'm aiming for this one side. Don't you just think that airbrushing something just really brings it to life? Let's go down the centre a bit on that one. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of what I've got in here because it's such a super colour. I'm not going to flush it away. I'm just going to pour it back in the bottle. I'm not going to rinse it out. I'm just going to sort of wipe the cup out basically and then spray until it's empty and I can't get any more out. I'm then going to take this lipstick red fractal colours and bring back the tentacles. Now I'm basically going to fill in that colour. I'm spraying until I've got that colour. And then coming round and filling in that detail. How stunning is that? Really rather fabulous. So let's do it again. Now these are a water-based colour, but you may remember that we're dealing with a modelling chocolate. So the pearlized go on absolutely beautifully to these, which is great. You could obviously use an ethanol colour, but water-based is great for anybody that doesn't want the alcohol near the cakes. Or also doesn't want the cost associated with an ethanol colour, which is perfect. So just aiming my airbrush, pointing at where it is that I want to spray. Can you see how close I am? And I'm close for a reason. I'm close because I don't want my spray to be too wide. If I come a good distance away, I get a wide spray. If I come close to, I'll get a fine spray. And I really want to direct my spray quite specifically to a certain area. Okay, so again, we'll get rid of that. I don't want to waste it. And then we'll look at bringing to life our silvers and golds. Give the gold a bit of a shake. In it goes. Again, checking my colour. Doesn't take long for the gold to come through. And we would be spraying up, look, the coins and really bringing them to life. So just a nice, from a distance, bringing that forward. And just very quickly, see the difference it makes having a grey background. But really, rather quickly, you can turn that into a super silver. And I'd just give those a few minutes to dry before adding them to our cake. So finally, our wood grain. Now I've just got a dark chocolate brown from Flowair in here. And remember I was saying about the further you are away, the wider the spray. And then the closer you get, the finer the line. And all I'm doing is drawing against those lines that we've put in the cake. You might want to just do a few of those other little grooves. Bring it together a little more. You really can't go wrong with this one. Very simple, and really does make it very effective once this has been shaded up. And again, whilst it's modelling chocolate, those water-based colours really do work well on there. And that wood grain then makes it look very realistic. So now you know the secrets of how we put together this amazing treasure chest cake. Of course, using all of the new fabulous Katy Sue moulds. I don't know about you, but I still think my favourite is the octopus in the centre with those amazingly detailed tentacles. But of course there was coins, there's been rope detail, there's been Neptunes and locks and all sorts of other bits and pieces too. Now, shall we put him to bed? I want to say thank you very much for joining me in the Dinky Doodle kitchen. I've been Dawn Butler for Katy Sue Designs.